Hi guys, I'm Carly from All the Pretty Books. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I collect rare and signed Harry Potter books as well as Harry Potter translations, which is the majority of this room that you see right here. My book room is small, but it's actually not as small. It's just wall-to-wall bookshelves, so it appears fairly small. Regardless, it's in desperate need of a reshelving, and it's 2 o'clock in the morning here in Utah, and I thought that was the perfect time to apparently reshelf my books. So that's going to be what we do today. But rather than just watching me reshelf all of this mess, I thought it'd be interesting to also discuss the history of the bookshelf, because I love history and I love the history behind things like bookshelves, for example. Things are used quite a bit and things that we don't necessarily think of having a history behind them. And I enjoy that kind of stuff. So I thought I would share the history of the bookshelf while I did that. So yeah, that'll be what we do. All of this blank space that you see right here was where my sale books were, my books for sale. They've since been moved so I can use that space. My collection begins down there at the bottom, and it's going to be moved to the very top shelf. One of the hard parts of having such a small space for my book room is that it's really hard to show all of it in its entirety. The shelves that I'm going to be focusing on are the ones that you see when you come in. So pretty much all of these here, those are my notes for the video, and then all the way around. I've got to find a place for all the stuff on the table. And the UK bookshelf is on the left, all the way down to the floor. And my US one is on the right, all the way down to the floor. And then I've got some box sets up there, my Braille, both US and UK as well. But I'm going to work on those another day. I don't have time to do all of it. So those are going to come another time. We're just going to focus on the translations. If you've ever sent me anything like this lovely subscriber who sent me a Christmas card one year did, I keep everything in my books because it's special to me and I like to keep it all together. It reminds me of all of the neat connections I've made. During this reshelving process, I'll also be moving my Funko Pops and pretty much everything that adorns my shelves. I also tend to store my Funko Pop boxes because I can't throw them away because collector brain behind my books. This really cool Cornish pixie I found at the thrift shop for like $8, maybe $5 in the box. I have the box behind these books somewhere. But if you like this kind of stuff, or even if you like to collect books, I do recommend thrifting because I found some really neat stuff there.
The bookshelf, a now ubiquitous piece of furniture, has a long and evolving history shaped by changes in literacy, architecture, technology, and social customs. Bookshelves trace their origins to the ancient civilizations of Egypt, Greece, and Rome. However, these early books were actually scrolls rather than bound volumes. Scrolls, often made of papyrus or parchment, were stored in niches, pigeonholes, or boxes, not shelves. Those would come later. In places like the Library of Alexandria in 3rd century BCE, papyrus scrolls were kept in pigeonhole-style shelvings within cabinets and cupboards. I remember when I was in grad school the first time through. I was a part of a History of the Book Club, and we got to handle this 3,000-year-old papyrus from ancient Egypt. Y'all, I honestly don't have words for how awestruck I was. Such an incredible experience to be in the room with, let alone hold, very carefully of course, a piece like that. Absolutely amazing and definitely a highlight for me. As books shifted from scrolls to the more complex codex form, which was pages bound together along one edge, storage needs began to change. Codices were more suited to being stacked flat, leading to new storage approaches.
One of the things that I like to do is with the schoolhouse or school translations, the schoolhouse editions, there we go, the translations of those. This is the Catalan one. I like to put it side edge out so we can see the colored pages. I think it's pretty and it makes the library look nice.
During the Middle Ages, books were rare and valuable and often kept in monasteries and chained to desks or lecterns to prevent theft. These chained libraries didn't use shelves as we know them today. Books were often stored horizontally on sloped desks or on cupboards. The library's collection of chained books dates back to the 8th century, and their locks and chains are intact. How cool is that? The oldest and largest surviving chained library in the world is in Hereford Cathedral Library in England. The oldest chained book in the world is Hereford Gospels, an 8th century manuscript. There are only 5 surviving chained libraries in existence. The emergence of lectern desks with slanted tops and attached books, sometimes in rotating carousels, marked an early step toward public book access. The invention of the printing press in the mid-15th century by Johannes Gutenberg dramatically increased the production of books, creating a need for better storage solutions. By the 16th century, books began to be stored upright with their spines outward, allowing for titles to be visible. During this time, books also became smaller and easier to bind. The Renaissance was the time when bookcases evolved into more recognizable furniture forms, often crafted from rich woods and designed as magnificent showpieces for scholars, nobles, and clergy.
Here's where we are now. Here's the first shelf. Box sets just kind of live up there right now. I'm keeping them separate from the unboxed books, if you will. And here are these shelves now.
It was also during this time that shelving became more standardized and included closed cabinets to protect the books from dust. As literacy expanded and book ownership became more common among the upper and middle classes, bookshelves began appearing in private homes. Furniture makers began designing more refined pieces and decorative bookcases to fit the aesthetic of domestic interiors. It is at this time that I've realized I've gone from bottom to top instead of the planned top to bottom, which is how the first row previously was done. And this is when I decide I'm too far in to care and keep going. The 19th century saw a boom in publishing and democratization of reading materials. Libraries, both public and private, proliferated. Bookcases became increasingly mass-produced. Looking so much better. The 20th century introduced minimalist utilitarian bookcases. The Swedish company IKEA revolutionized home furniture. Their first bookshelf came out in 1967 catalog. It was called Taiga and was the forerunner to the Billy bookshelf. At one time, my whole library was made of Billies, if you didn't know. But I moved cross-country and donated most of my Billies, but I kept 2. This one and this one. The Billy first came out in 1979 and was an affordable, flat-packed bookshelf that has become a global staple. As noted in Harvard Design magazine, the Billy signaled a shift from showcasing status to functional domestic storage. The Library of Ashurbanipal is the world's oldest known systematically organized library. It was built in Nineveh by Neo-Assyrian king Ashurbanipal. It housed around 30,000 clay tablets and scrolls. The library burned down around 612 BCE, destroying the scrolls, but the tablets survived. Most of what we know about Mesopotamian scholarships comes from these surviving tablets or fragments of, and I think that's just so very cool, you guys. Oh my goodness. Today, despite the rise of digital media and the digital bookshelves to hold them, physical books and the furniture to hold them remain popular. Bookshelves now serve not only as practical storage, but also as statements of identity and taste.
I'm done. I've got to go to bed. I thought the history of the bookshelves was so very interesting. Also, it was really, 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 really hard on me not to go off on a tangent about really cool historic libraries, because there are some really neat ones. But that's another video for another day. If you'd like more Harry Potter content, check out the podcast I co-host with Melanie and Eric and sometimes Peter, Dialogue Alley. I'll put the links down below. We are Harry Potter translation collectors, among other things, and we have so much fun. And like I said, I'll put all that information down below. I'll put my sources that I used for the history of the bookshelf as well. And I will also put some of the really cool library stuff that I read but couldn't include because it was just going to get too long. Alrighty, that's it for today. I've got to go to bed, get ready for tomorrow. It's my last day off before I go back to work on Friday, and I actually think Friday may be a 14-hour day. I need to check. But anyway, with that, I'm going to say y'all are great. Thanks for watching, and as always, happy collecting and good night.